Hey everyone. If you're gearing up for a big test, you know that vocabulary can feel like a huge mountain to climb. Well, in this explainer, we're going to conquer that mountain together by mastering all 25 words from WordSmart List 27. Let's make this whole thing a lot easier. So, how are we going to do this? Simple. We've split the list into 5 easy-to-remember groups based on what the words mean. See, learning words this way helps your brain connect the dots, which makes them stick. We'll kick things off with words about chaos, then jump into actions, feelings, ideas, and wrap up with people and places. First up, let's tackle the tricky stuff. These are the words you pull out when things are messy, confusing, or just not going smoothly. Okay, let's look at 2 words that both mean confusion: tumult and turmoil. So what's the difference? It's all about where the chaos is. Tumult is loud, physical chaos that's happening outside. Think of the tumult of a huge cheering crowd after a championship game. On the other hand, turmoil is usually confusion that's inside, either in your own mind or within a group. You might feel emotional turmoil, or a country could be in political turmoil. So an easy way to remember it: tumult is outside noise, turmoil is inside mess. Here are 2 more words for when things get difficult. First up, turbid. Turbid means cloudy, murky, and hard to see through. Imagine muddy water in a river. That's turbid. But it can also describe ideas. A turbid explanation is one that's just confusing and not clear at all. Then we have thorny. You know how a rose has thorns, those sharp points that make it hard to grab? Well, a thorny problem is just like that. It's full of difficulties and really tough to solve. All right, pay close attention to this next one because these 2 words are so easy to mix up. First, we have tortuous, spelled with a U-O. It means winding and full of twists and turns, like a tortuous road up a mountain. Now, torturous, spelled with a U-R, means extremely painful, like torture. So a long, winding path is tortuous. An experience that causes great pain is torturous. That little letter difference changes everything. And the last word in our chaos group is toxic. The main meaning is pretty simple. It means poisonous. A chemical can be toxic, but you'll hear this word a lot to describe things that are really, really harmful in other ways. We talk about a toxic work environment, or even a toxic friendship. In both cases, the meaning is exactly the same. It's poisonous, and it's very, very bad for you. Okay, on to our second group. These words are all about doing things. They're action words that describe what people do or intend to do. Let's start with 2 pretty powerful and kind of negative actions. To throttle something means to choke it or stop it from growing. For example, you can throttle an engine to make a car go slower, but you can also say that too many rules can throttle a new business. Next, to thwart someone is to block their plan and stop them from succeeding. You know, in every superhero movie, the hero's main job is to thwart the villain's evil scheme. Now, this next pair of words is pretty much the opposite of each other. To toil means to work incredibly hard for a long, long time. You can imagine farmers who toil in the fields from sunrise to sunset. But to temporize is to do the opposite of taking action. It means you delay or stall to buy yourself more time. Think about a politician who doesn't want to answer a tough question. They might temporize by giving a really long, vague answer. This is a fantastic word. To teem means to be completely full of something, almost overflowing. You could say a river is teeming with fish, or that a big city is teeming with people. It paints a picture of a place that is just bursting with life and activity. All right, group 3. We're shifting gears from what people do on the outside to what they feel on the inside. These are all words for our feelings and senses. You ever had to do a task that was just so boring and you had to do it over and over and over again? Well, that feeling of deep, deep boredom is called tedium. It's more than just being bored for a few minutes. It's that tired, heavy feeling you get from monotony. For example, someone might complain about the tedium of their factory job. Tepid is a really useful word because it has 2 common meanings. First, when we talk about liquids, tepid means lukewarm, just a little bit warm, like tepid tea. But the meaning you'll probably see more often on a test is about feelings. A tepid response is an unenthusiastic, half-hearted one. If an audience gives a new movie tepid applause, well, they weren't very impressed. And here we have another great pair of opposites. Timorous means very fearful and shy. A timorous person gets scared easily and doesn't have much confidence. Think of a tiny, timorous mouse that scurries away from everything.
Now, on the complete other end of the spectrum, to titillate means to excite someone, usually in a light, fun, or interesting way. Tabloid magazines try to titillate their readers with shocking headlines about celebrities.
Uncanny is for something that is so strange and mysterious, it's just hard to explain. It's almost supernatural. For example, you might say your friend has an uncanny ability to know exactly what you're thinking. Or you might see an uncanny resemblance between two people who aren't related. They look so alike, it's actually a little spooky.
Okay, on to group number 4. This set of words is all about ideas, arguments, and how we talk about them, whether they're real, fake, or just incredibly sharp and to the point. So, a thesis is your main argument or the central point you're trying to prove, especially when you're writing a paper. Your thesis might be, for instance, that social media has made people feel more lonely. Now, a trenchant comment is a critique that is sharp, clear, and really effective. A smart professor might make a trenchant criticism of your thesis, pointing out all its flaws in a very direct way.
This slide shows a really important difference between what seems to be true and what's actually true. The underlying cause of something is the real, fundamental reason it's happening. But the titular leader of a group is the leader in name only. They have the official title, but maybe someone else behind the scenes has all the real power. So just remember, underlying is what's real deep down, and titular is often just for show.
A travesty is a shameful, ridiculous imitation of something that should be taken seriously. It's a mockery. The most common phrase you'll probably ever hear this in is a travesty of justice. That describes a court case that is so unfair or corrupt that it makes the whole idea of justice look like a complete joke.
And here we go, our 5th and final group. These last few words are all about specific kinds of people, meetings, and the start of something new. For our next word, I want you to take a look at the screen. What do you see? The number 3. Just keep that number in your head. It's a big clue. Remember that number 3? Well, that's your hint for triumvirate. See the tri at the start, just like in triangle? A triumvirate is a group of 3 people who share power and rule together. Now for something totally different, a tryst. A tryst is a secret meeting, and it's almost always between lovers. It's a word that's full of secrecy and a little bit of romance. This simple phrase right here really captures the essence of our next word. It's all about that moment right at the beginning of a new chapter. That starting point is called a threshold. Literally, a threshold is the piece of wood or stone at the bottom of a doorway that you step over to enter a room. But we use it to talk about the beginning of any new experience. You could be on the threshold of a great scientific discovery. And our very last word is temporal. This describes things that have to do with time and our life here in the physical world, as opposed to spiritual or eternal things. For example, a king or queen has temporal power, power over worldly things like land and money. And there you have it. Now you've got 25 new words in your toolbox. Pretty cool, right? Just think, what new thresholds will this vocabulary help you cross?